Hello everybody, welcome to my channel or welcome back. So today we are bringing you August wrap up. I did end up reading 9 books this month. Not as great as last month with 12 books, but 9, it was pretty good. I think it's still pretty good. I had quite a few 5-star reads, so that was been really fun. Most of these were for the full moon readathon that Jan Agaton hosted the first couple weeks, or the first 13 days rather, of August. So most of these are from that, and we will just go ahead and get started. I am gonna do the reread, rewrite, or burn format. Since I did that last month, I really enjoyed it, so we're probably just gonna keep on doing it from now on, honestly. It's a fun way to go about, reviewing the books. For my favorite of this month, I think I'm gonna go with The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. This is the sequel to Once Upon a Broken Heart. And it really just had everything. It had some revelations about the plot from the first book that continued on into the second book. It had backstory on Jax, which is the male main character. It just had a lot of depth into a bunch of the characters and just a bunch more answers that we were looking for in the first book. And then the ending was just like crazy, absolutely nuts. So that was pretty mind-boggling with that ending. It just had everything going for it. So I would say that's probably my favorite of the month, even though I had quite a few 5-star reads. And then my least favorite was Desperate Measures. I honestly just got this to fit one of the prompts for the full moon readathon, and it's basically just a spicy retelling of kind of like Aladdin except Jafar gets Jasmine type situation. I mean, there's some plot, but it's not very well fleshed out, which I guess isn't the whole point of those kind of books. I mean, there's some, but not a lot. It wasn't terrible or anything. It just, it was just like, We will go ahead and get started with the handy dandy mug of titles in here. I already wrote them all out, and we will see which 3 we get. Okay, so we have Seven Faceless Saints, Heir of Fire, Guild. So I would probably burn Guild. This is the first book in the Plated Prisoner series. I actually ended up reading this on my Kindle and then just got the physical copy recently just because I enjoyed it so much. It's just very different. It's about Auren, which is a girl that is the king's favored saddle, which is basically his favorite concubine basically. And so she is gilded, so all her skin is gold. She has ribbons coming out of her back that are gold, and it's just very different. And I really liked Auren as a character, and so it was really compelling and just different. So I read that really, really quickly. So that was really good. Although, in this situation, I would burn it. And then probably rewrite Seven Faceless Saints, which I have here. I did read this, I think it was the first book I read of this month, and I read it in I think it was one day or very close to one day. It was very, very good. This was a dystopian book about these 7 faceless saints that are kind of like pillars in this community, and they have these disciples that have magic, and depending on what kind of magic they have, they are part of whatever guild of the saints that it goes with. I don't even really remember this book very much. I mean, I remember it, but it's not really coming back to me. I do remember I really liked it, so that should count as something. So it is following a murder mystery in this city of this dystopian world. Roz will do anything to get justice for her father who was murdered by the military, including infiltrating the Palazzo to spy for the rebellion whilst training as a disciple of the Saint Patience. So she has some magic as well, but she despises it. She hates that she has it, but it's also helpful to her to obviously get into the Palazzo to spy for the rebellion, as well as provide food and money to herself and her mother that she is still living with. And then Damien is the youngest captain in the history of the Palazzo security, expected to be ruthless and strong and to serve the saints with unquestioning devotion. But he's scarred from his experiences on the front line, striving to please his brutal, detached father, and the thing he fears most is facing Roz, who he left behind when he went to war. And so Damien and Roz grew up together before he was sent to the front line. That's all I remember, and that's all I'll say about it, because that's all I remember. But I really, really enjoyed this book. It is the Fairy Loot edition, so really glad I have this in that edition. So really enjoyed that. And then Heir of Fire, which I don't have, I had physically from the library, but obviously had to return it. I have heard that it's the favorite, or one of the favorites from the Throne of Glass series. I could definitely see it. I read the first couple Throne of Glass books last year, at the end of last year, and so Heir of Fire was my first book back into the Throne of Glass series, and I really enjoyed it. It does follow Selena following the events of the first 2 books, and it's just a lot of self-discovery for her, dealing with some trauma from the first couple books, and kind of seeing where the rest of the series is going to lead into. So I'm really excited to go ahead and continue on with that series. I am just waiting for my hold to come in on the next book, which is Queen of Midnight, I think I want to say. But really excited to read that when I get a chance to. So definitely reread that one because the whole Throne of Glass series is just amazing. 3 more here. A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, Vicious, and Desperate Measures. So burn Desperate Measures because like I already said before, it was okay. Like it wasn't anything to write home about. Probably rewrite A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, which I have here. I did read this in like a day also, or pretty close to it. I really enjoyed this book. It was just like a very nice palate cleanser between reading all these like thick fantasy books that you have to like really pay attention to the world building. So this was really, really good. This follows Mariel Ozroth. Mariel is a witch in the Spark family that is very prominent in this world, except she's not very good at casting spells. She would rather be in her garden or in her greenhouse with her plants and baking. So she's kind of like the family disappointment, and her mother especially makes it very well known that, like, you know, she's gonna come into her power at some point, especially since she had a prophecy, that's what it is, of her being like the most powerful witch in like many generations in the family. So she's just like always putting her down, not really showing her to be proud of like what she's good at and loving her for what she's good at and what she loves. In the midst of all that, she is trying to summon something for a recipe, and she accidentally summons Ozroth, which is a demon that deals in souls. So he's summoned on accident by her, and she has to obviously trade something for her soul, and he can't leave her side within like a certain radius until she decides what she wants to trade. But you know, obviously she didn't want that, so she's not going to trade anything for it. So forced proximity, enemies to lovers, just really, really good. It was just very wholesome and cute. Definitely shows accepting yourself as you are and not letting family or anybody tell you otherwise, and setting boundaries. So it was really good to read. I really liked it a lot. And then Vicious, I would reread. I had that physically as well from the library, but I had to return it. I did read it for the Full Moon Readathon. So that was a Morley Gray character prompt, and literally every single character in that book is Morley Gray, more or less. And I think I really enjoyed it because I've read like Morley Gray characters before, but not as Morley Gray as the characters in that book. So this follows Victor and Elliot. Victor and Elliot are best friends in college, and Elliot has this thesis that if you were to have a near-death experience, you know, controlling the factors and whatnot, that you could potentially have superpowers from that near-death experience. So they both try it and both get superpowers, and it just goes on from there. The chapters are really quick and short, which I really like. And then it goes back and forth between present and past, which is nice to kind of get the backstory because you don't really know what's going on at the beginning. So you kind of learn as you go, which is fun. And then the last part of it is like a countdown to midnight. That was really fun. I really enjoyed it quite a bit. So definitely reread that one. Yeah, last 3. Okay, so we have Glint, Ballad of Never After, and Lies We Sing to the Sea. Okay, I think this one is actually pretty easy. So we will go ahead and burn Glint. This is the second book in the Plated Prisoner series. I read these back to back, so I'm not gonna lie, these are pretty much flushed together in my mind. Like, I can't really tell you what happened in either book. Like, they just kind of meshed together into one big book. But this follows Auron still. For 10 years, I've lived in a cage inside King Midas's golden castle, but one night changed everything. I may be out, but I'm not free, not even close. Return to the seductive world of the Power and Greed in Book 2 of the Plated Prisoner series. Get caught up in the land of Oreo, where things aren't always what they seem and secrets can be worth more than gold. So it does have some trigger warnings. Dark elements, triggering include violence, adult language, explicit romance, and emotional manipulation. Probably burn this one, even though, again, I think I really like this book. I think I gave it like a 4.75 stars out of 5, so burn this just because I have to. And then I would rewrite Lies We Sing to the Sea, which I had finished in another video, which I still have to finish up and put out, but I really enjoyed this book, but I would rewrite it. It is pretty long for Greek retelling, and I feel like it's a little bit drawn out, but I couldn't really tell you what could be deleted out of it, honestly, to make it shorter. Although being shorter would have been really nice, but I really enjoyed this book. This follows Leto and Prince Matthias and another character that we meet along the way, so it's multiple POV. It's about the island of Ithaca. Ithaca every summer has to find maidens that have been marked by Poseidon and hang them and sacrifice them and give their bodies to the sea to appease Poseidon so he doesn't, you know, wreck crops and, you know, all the terrible stuff. So royalty, so Prince Matthias in this case, has to find these maidens and condemn them to death and then give their bodies to the sea so that Ithaca can remain healthy. And not really, I mean, it's not really prosperous at the moment, but, you know, just so they don't get cursed and, you know, worse off than they already are. Leo is one of these girls that has been sacrificed, so this just follows this curse. You'll see it when I put out the video, which hopefully will be soon. I sobbed my eyes out. It was so good. I gave it 4.75 or 4.5, I think. I gave it 4.5 stars just because it was kind of lengthy, but this was really one that you have to binge and kind of get through. Not that it's bad, but the more that you read it and the farther you get, the easier it is to kind of keep going. So, but the end of it was just so bittersweet. Sobbed, loved it. It was a good time. And then obviously reread Ballad of Never After, as I said, that was my favorite of this month. And so I think that's all we have for this wrap up. I guess I'll just go over what ratings I gave everything. My handy dandy list here. So Lies We Sing to the Sea, like we said, I gave 4.5. Glint, I gave 4.75. Guild, which was the first book, I gave 5 stars. A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, I gave 5 stars. Ballad of Never After, 5 stars. Vicious, 5 stars. Air of Fire, 5 stars. Desperate Measures, 3.5 stars, and then Seven Faceless Saints was 5 stars. So I had a lot of really good books this month. It was a pretty decent month, not as many books as I had read the month before, but that's okay. You know, every month is different. So thank you so much for joining me for this wrap up today. I hope you guys are having a great start to your September. I can't wait to go ahead and put out my next video, which is like a screen time to reading. So hope you guys are excited to see that when it comes out, and thanks once again for going ahead and watching this video and coming to see, you know, my wrap up. Just let me know down in the comments if you want to, like, what other videos you'd like to see me do, what was your favorite or least favorite of this month of August. Again, once again, thanks just for coming back. I hope you guys are having a great rest of your day, and I hope you're all reading 5-star books, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!